Hi everyone, it's Suey here on Suey's Book Banter, and today I want to talk about all the books I've read the last 6 months, from spring and summer. I know it's a little weird, but it's the last 6 months, so I'm going to go from April through September and kind of catch up since I just got this channel started. And I'll just let you know what I've been reading the past 6 months so you can kind of get a better feel for the things I'm reading and kind of what I think about stuff. Let's start back in April, and I've got to look at my Goodreads because obviously I don't remember stuff that far back. In April, I was on a trip to Mexico, and so on the beach, I read this one, which is one that I've been wanting to read for a long, long time. So I grabbed it and read that the whole time we were on the beach. The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I read her other book, Everything, Everything, and loved it. So this one's a really fun one about a girl who is Black. The guy is Korean. Did I remember this right? And they happen to accidentally meet one day in the middle of New York City. And both of them are having like big time life-changing events happening that day, and they kind of just bag what they need to be doing and hang out for a little while for that day and try to forget about their responsibilities and stuff. And then they wish they could be together, and they know that that's going to be impossible, and it's them thinking about how it'd be great if they could do whatever they wanted and not have to do all the things that they have to do. Does that even make sense? I don't even know if I even made sense just now. Many things I read on the Kindle, and one of them is my friend Trish Milburn. She writes lots of great romances, but she has her favorite thing to write, I know this because she said it, is her K-pop and K-drama books. And she started a brand new series. She calls them Could Have Been a K-drama. They're just short little fun stories that remind her of stories that we see in K-dramas. And so I read her first one back in April when I was on the airplane going to that trip. It's called Summer Rain. It's really good. And then for book club in April, we read Dread Nation, another zombie book. I really liked this one. It kind of takes place, it feels like in the earlier time period, in the like Civil War era. They have Black girls be the protectors of the white girls, the ones that will fight the zombies off. So this is a story of one of those Black girls. Then I read the second book of this, the Black Witch Chronicles by Laurie Forrest, and the second book is called The Iron Flower. So it continues the story that we meet the girl in the girl that we meet in the first book. Her grandmother is this huge famous witch, and they think she's going to be the person that will take over that duty, but she doesn't have any magic, so there's no way she can. And it's a great story about a whole these different kinds of people and creatures and races, and how it's a little bit like Harry Potter in the sense that she goes to school and she meets all these different kinds of people, and there's magic, and some people's magic is different than other people's, and it's about her trying to deal with the stuff that her people have done in the past and come to grips with the fact that she doesn't have magic and that she's descended from this witch that is not so awesome. It's really good. I went to a book launch for this local author, Heather Clark, and finally got to her book called Lemon Drop Falls in when was it? May-ish or so. And it's a middle grade book about a girl whose mother has died, and so she's dealing with the grief of that, and she's also has massive anxiety, and so it's her trying to overcome the anxiety and deal with the death of her mother, and it's very heartwarming and tear-jerking. For book club, we read Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth, who wrote some other famous books. Divergent, right? I think she wrote the Divergent series. And so this is the new series called Carve the Mark we read for book club, and I really, really enjoyed that book. And it takes place where it's like science fiction. So there's space travel, but the two main characters are on the same planet, but from different like kingdoms. And it's what happens when they get together. And she is like the princess of the kingdom, and he's like the slave. He's been captured. So, and the Carve the Mark refers to the fact that when they kill people, they get a tattoo carved on their arm. I read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. These ones were on Kindle, so I don't have a book to show you. That was also for book club, and I really, really liked that one. It was about a girl who's trying to commit suicide, but instead of dying, she goes to the Midnight Library, where the librarian from her childhood tells her to pick any of the books, and they're all these things that are representing different paths that she could have taken in her life. And so she's like, oh, I would have been awesome if I would have done blah, 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 blah. And so then she finds a book and she opens it, and then she's just sucked into that life, that other life that she could have had. And so she lives it for like 2 seconds, and she's like, oh, never mind, this life's crappy. So she goes back to the library and picks another one, and she does that over and over and over and over again, and lives all these different adventures and lives, until in the end she realizes that she just wants her own life back, and that she doesn't want to die after all. Did I just spoil the whole thing? Probably, but that's what that book's about. Then I went to a book event, and I talked to this author, Priscilla Oliveras, and bought her book, and it's called Island Affair, and it's just a fun romance. And I haven't read anything like this for a long time, but just pure, simple, fun, fluffy stuff. It takes place on Florida, Key West in Florida. She's on vacation, and her boyfriend's supposed to come, and he doesn't show, so she meets up with this guy, and she asks him to stand in as her boyfriend because she doesn't want her family to think that she's a loser and couldn't get her boyfriend to come with her, and among other things. So it's one of those fake boyfriend trope stories. Then for book club, we all chose a memoir to read in July, and so I picked this one about Will Smith because I had gotten it for Christmas and decided it would be really interesting. There's so many memoirs I have on my stack I want to read, but I chose this one. It was surprisingly really good. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if he would drive me crazy. I didn't know if he would make me angry, all those things, but his life is really interesting, and the way he rose to fame is really interesting, and some of his he has some really profound thoughts, which I bookmarked these, I tagged these for book club so that I could remember what to tell people. But he has some really profound thoughts about life, and I really enjoyed it. On my Kindle, I read The YouTube Formula: How Anyone Can Unlock the Algorithm to Drive Views, Build an Audience, and Grow on YouTube. I won't say anything more about that because it will bore the crap out of you all. Actually, if you're booktubers, you might want to. It's by Daryl Eves, and he is not my most favorite booktube helper person. I found people on YouTube that I like much better, but I was really curious to see what he would say. He is also a local dude. I've seen him several times at other things, and he kind of drives me a little bit crazy. So that's all I want to say about that. I didn't really learn a whole lot. I got this ARC from a local publishing place, and it's called Hearts of Briar Oil by Krista Lynn Jensen. She is an author I have read I've just read one of her others before. It's a Christmas story I really liked, and I totally enjoyed this one too. Edwardian romance. So a little bit later after Victorian, when cars are happening and girls are starting to like gasp, wear pants. So this girl is sort of forward thinking, and she has to deal with people thinking she's crazy because she wants to drive a car. Lines of Courage by Jennifer Nielsen. We read this one for book club, and it is a awesome World War I story where it follows 5 different stories of kids and how their stories end up coming together in the end and intermingling together. I thought it was really good, but I did find it to be a little bit too happy and too neatly wrapped up. And I think that people at book club kind of felt the same way for the most part. But I still really enjoy her writing, and she has some awesome middle grade historical novels. The other day I did a blog post, it was a while back, about books on your to be read stack that you haven't gotten to for years. And so I gathered a few books up that I really wish I had read and I still haven't read. And then I've been looking at that stack ever since, and I've been thinking, I really just want to read those. Why am I not just reading them? So I picked one off that stack that I've had forever and never read. It's called Across the Universe by Beth Rivas. I don't know if you guys remember when it was really popular years and years ago, but it's a space science fiction story, which is something that I'm trying to write myself. So I need to read all the space stories just to help me figure out my own story. And this one is about a girl who is frozen on a spaceship, and they are going, it's going to take 300 plus years to get to where they're going, and then the people that are frozen are going to help start a new society there. But there's people on the ship that are living and dying on the ship during those 300 years that are manning the ship and taking care of them and getting them to the place. This is what happens when she is unfrozen way before she's supposed to. And then she starts learning about what's been going on the ship during these past few hundred years, and it's kind of crazy. And I need to keep going to find out what goes on, because this is also a trilogy. This is a trilogy, so might as well finish the other two, right? Then on my Kindle, I read The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth for book club, and my book club friends have been raving about this author, and I've never read anything of hers, and so it was fun to see what all the fuss was about. Yes, it was a very easy, fast, quite page-turning book, and I really enjoyed that one. It's about two sisters, Fern and Rose. Fern is a little bit autistic, Rose is a little bit controlling, and the whole story is us trying to figure out what is really going on with those two. Then I just recently read another K-pop romance from Trish Milburn. It's called Shining Star, and it's in her An Idol in Love K-pop romance series, and it is the 8th book in her series, and the 2nd book that's following the story of the band called Sky High. So the first 6 books are the other band, SPG, and this part of the series is now following the stories of the guys in Sky High, and these two bands are rival bands. I like this universe of K-pop because they all get to fall in love and have romance stories, of course. And right now I am reading Feed. It's on my Kindle by Mira Grant, and it is another zombie story, but it is so far not one that I'm enjoying that much. And its premise is that in this world where their zombies are, bloggers are very skilled and popular to go out and show what's going on in the world and sending their feed back to the computer to send out to the world. So that's the feed that it's referring to. So we'll see in the end. I'm about halfway done. We'll see in the end what I think of that one. So stay tuned for that review. Maybe it will be the first actual review I do on this channel. We'll see. So anyway, that's what I've read since April. I hope you enjoyed my wrap up. Let me know if you have read any of those books and what you think about them. And if there's anything that you haven't read that you might be interested in now, let's talk about it down below in the comments. Subscribe and like, and we will see you another day. Happy reading. Bye.